Kids, I'm back here. I probably should have warned you a couple things. First, I got a haircut. It was due. There's a bird's nest on top of my head. It's a little short. Okay, I know. Also, I didn't realize that the camera was looking at me and I kept freaking going down. And maybe you've seen there's a little thinning going on out there. While we move on. Okay, so the question is, what's a muscle cell? Not a muscle cell, but a muscle fiber. Remember, that's what they call it. Okay? There's a Little Wayne song I used to like. It was 6 foot, 7 foot, 8, but muscle cells can be up to 1 foot long. Not 6 or 7 feet or 8 feet, Corey Guns and Little Wayne. Okay? Jordan, you like the trap music, right? I don't know if does Little Wayne count as trap music. I don't know. Okay, but anyways, muscle cells. They're multinucleated. Okay, there's a whole. If they're gonna be little 1 foot long cells, okay, then they'd better have a whole bunch of nuclei to run the show. All right. Now they also have tons and tons and tons of mitochondria. Well, if you think about it, right, what's going on in their muscles? They're going to use a lot of energy, right? When we're working out, right? Let's not put on the COVID-15, kids. Let's make sure we're getting our runs in, okay? But I digress. All right, they use a lot of energy. That's the bottom line. Muscle cells, remember, muscle fibers also have these things called glycosomes, okay? Glycosomes are little glycogen molecules which store sugar. Okay, so you can store sugar really in 2 parts of your body, in muscle and in your liver. Okay, and you're going to store glycogen, which is thousands and thousands and thousands of branch sugar, and that's going to be your go-to supply for energy, right? To generate ATP, it's built into your muscles. You also have this myoglobin molecule. Okay, and I say oxygen storage, but myoglobin binds to oxygen more effectively or more willingly than even hemoglobin does. So as blood passes by your muscle, okay, with hemoglobin, it's myoglobin that wants oxygen even more, and it will grab some oxygen off the hemoglobin, okay, which is really important when we get to our workout stuff. All right. Muscle fibers also have modified organelles, myofibrils, which is unlike any organelle you learn in AP biology or biology. Okay, so myofibrils are these little rod-like things. I've got a slide on them. They have a modified endoplasmic reticulum. We're going to call it the sarcoplasmic reticulum. It's going to be a big one later. Okay, so the sarcoplasmic reticulum is a modified smoothie R. Remember I told you guys, and I think I had now it leaves the numbers, but maybe 8 or 9 of you guys, and next year too, in AP biology. Okay, and we talked about calcium storage, and it turns out calcium is really important, and you're going to see an example here. Okay, sarcolemma is a modified cell membrane. It's got voltage gated channels, and this little thing called a T-tubule, which goes down into the muscle fiber. Okay, we'll take a look at that. All right, so myofibrils, right? The first weird organelle, right? We're just looking at muscle cells on this video, okay? They are densely packed, long rod-like elements. Most of the cell's volume is myofibrils. I think about this. If your muscle cell were the forest, right, then the trees would be myofibrils. And most of the forest is trees, right? So, if this were a muscle cell, we'd see myofibril, okay? So now, if you remember I said skeletal muscle is striated. It's in the myofibrils that we see the striations, that they're going to show up, okay? We're going to skip that. That's for if we were in school, and who knows what that will be again, okay? Myofibrils are made of myofilaments, okay? So again, think about what I just said. I said the forest is a muscle fiber. The tree is a myofibril, this rod-like organelle, okay, this thing right here. Well, now we're going to talk about a branch on the tree, and this is where we're going to spend a lot of time. It's called a myofilament, okay? So again, this is why I made the videos, because I think it's a little more complicated than the digestive system and what I wanted you to know from there. Forest, big deal, right? It's made of trees. Muscle cell, well, it's obviously tiny, but it's jam-packed with myofibrils. The trees are made of leaves and branches and stuff, right? Well, myofibrils are made of another layer of complexity, the friendly woodland creatures. I mean a myofilament, okay? So myofibrils made of myofilaments, okay? And that's what we've got to master, these myofilaments. I don't want you going to college without knowing your difference between a couple myofilaments, okay? So again, here's the picture, just one more picture for you. Okay, this is a muscle cell, Our muscle cells are jam-packed with myofibrils. Oh, sorry, this little box got too small. Okay, myofibrils are going to be made of myofilaments. The little dotted things right here we're going to take a look at. Okay, so myofibrils jam-pack your muscle cell. Okay. All right, so what we can do when we look at that myofilament, it's going to be made of a repeating unit called a sarcomere. Okay, a sarcomere, I just want to show you a sarcomere would be, here is one single thing that we call a sarcomere. Sarcomere, right? And here's another sarcomere. And here's another sarcomere. Well, what's a sarcomere? Okay, it's the actual unit of the muscle cell that contracts. So a sarcomere itself can shorten. All right. For those of you guys that studied bone earlier in the year, we talked about osteons being the functional unit of bone. Sarcomeres are the functional unit of muscle. Everything your muscle does, a sarcomere does, but at the very smallest level. Okay. So this is a really important slide. All right. A sarcomere is a region of a myofibril. So if I could just come back here, this picture is kind of neater and less congested. If this is our myofibril, sarcomere, a sarcomere is considered this region right here. And it's repeated hundreds of millions of times. Here's a sarcomere, sarcomere, sarcomere. Okay, guys? Let's see it. So the sarcomere is made of a thick filament and a thin filament, all right? I'm actually going to spend less time on the A bands and the I bands this year, okay? Because I really want to focus on the thick and thin filaments, okay? And the Z disc, I mean, you guys should read this, but the Z disc is this little anchorage point. That's how you can tell where one sarcomere begins, this one beginning, right? And where it ends. And then this next one will begin, okay? So we're not going to spend as much time actually here in labeling A band, I band, H zone, basically for your sanity. But I do want to look at this picture, okay? Here's effectively one sarcomere. We're going to pay attention to two myofilaments. This one called myosin, okay? Myosin is the thick filament, okay? Thick with 4 C's, okay? And then here's actin. See, it's hard to make my jokes. I don't get to see your happy faces when I say them, okay? And then here's actin, right? Actin, myosin. These guys are where we're going to form our next video and we're going to go to next, okay? But first we'll just get their structures down and then we'll call it a day. Myosin, it's the thick filament. Well, it's made of myosin tails coming together, right? So here would be a myosin little tail and they all kind of weave together. Then here's your myosin head. Sorry for going back and forth, okay? So myosin heads contain 3 things. A little binding site for actin filaments, a binding site for ATP. ATP is going to bind to a myosin head. Then it's got an enzyme that's going to break that ATP up into ADP and inorganic phosphate. Okay, so that's our thick filament. Okay. I guess I might have put that in the wrong place, but I'm going to do a hard pause right there, okay? That myosin is the thick filament. It's got little heads, and those little heads, like some little spot on actin. That's a little foreshadowing of what's to come next. Okay, kids, let me figure out how to end this thing. Have a great day. If I don't talk to you, Zoom tomorrow. Adios, muchachos.